Okay, now we're live. Just gonna wait a little bit. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. We are from the OLA Education Department, and today we're going to be doing a live and discussing some of the classes we have available. Hundumtuu galatoomaa har'a waan nu wajjin jirtanii fi waan dhaggeeffataniif galatoomaa. Waa'ee kilaasii afaan Oromoo qabnu haasofnaa xiqqoo ishee yeroo xiqqoodhaaf. And maqaan koo Duraartuudha. My name is Durartu. I've worked for the OLA Education Promotion, and then my friends can also introduce themselves.
Okay, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Gutisa. I am an OLA volunteer for the education department, and as of recent for the advocacy department also. Currently, I'm a teacher assistant in the Gada class we have going on. So yeah, that's kind of who I am.
Thank you, Gudisa.
My name is Sartu. I also volunteer in the education department. Also help out in the classes and kind of just doing like admin work. Yeah.
Thank you both. So we'll get started with some of the questions we have. So first, I want us to talk about why OLA is focusing on education and why it's important for us to do that as an organization. So if you guys could speak a little bit about that and the differences or why we target, Oromo people and also non-Oromo people and how everybody can benefit. So we can start with Sartu.
Sure. Education is very important, and I think it's the reason why we try to educate Oromos. Like our classes are for Oromos and non-Oromos, but the main target is for Oromos because it's better to educate ourselves inwards and then outwards. Like start with our own community, and then move outwards. And I mean, our classes are on important things, right? Like Afaan Oromo. It's really important to learn your own language. And then we have our Gadak system class. So they're topics they're topics that are interesting and that should interest Oromos, diaspora or not, as well as non-Oromos that are interested or have experience like living back home in Oromia, for everybody to learn. So, yeah.
Thank you. Gudisa, could you add a little bit more?
Yeah. So just to add on to what Sartu said, uh, I think everybody should know that OLA first started as an advocacy association. And then I think the realization came that in order to advocate for the Oromo people, you have to make sure that you know who you're advocating for, why you're advocating for a people. So you have to know the culture, you have to know the language, you have to know the morals and these kind of things, because if you don't know Afaan Oromo, or you're not aware at all of something like the Gada system or Sinke or these type of things, then I'm not sure if you're somebody who can advocate to the fullest extent that they can for the Oromo cause. So I think for that reason, also education is extremely important in that regard.
Thank you. And that's why we, use, well, as part of the promotion, we are really eager to get a lot of students, to bring a lot of students to our classes because we want to educate, and education we believe is really important. And like Udisa said, it's the first step in learning to advocate for our people. We need to learn about our history. And our language to be able to actually talk with the people we want to advocate for and learn as much as we can before we can go out and tell others and talk about our people and our history. So thank y'all for your responses, and we can move on to talk about why. Well, I kind of just said a little bit, but why are we targeting people in the diaspora? And that's why we do our interview or our lives in English. We want people who don't know Afaan Oromo to hear us, to learn, to want to learn. So, can you guys talk about why we are targeting students in the diaspora to join our classes? And we can start with Gudisa this time.
So I think the biggest reason why we target students in the diaspora more than students back home is because when you're in the diaspora, you're kind of disconnected from Oromia, right? You're disconnected from your family. You're disconnected from possible friends you might have had if you were born in Oromia and lived there. But with the diaspora now, you can see with the growing population of Oromos in the West here, uh, and the second generation immigrants we see, I think it's necessary for us to put a particular emphasis on teaching them and helping them out in you know connecting back to their roots. So
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing from what I think.
thank you. Sartu, could you add on?
I would definitely agree. People in the diaspora are disconnected, and it's very easy for them to like assimilate into the culture that they live in, right, and lose the opportunity to learn about the culture that they were born into. So it's trying to like create this bridge between where the diaspora are now and like the culture that they live in to the culture that is your home culture. And so it's just providing resources for people that want to learn and are interested, to come and take these classes and learn about themselves and their people. And so, yeah, and language is very important, and it connects people that are here in the diaspora to their family back home, or even to, the land itself, even if you don't have that much family back home. So it's a way for them to reconnect with themselves.
Thank you. And I did want to highlight something that you said about how Ola just gives, it's like a resource for people that want to learn, because there aren't a lot of ways that people can learn Afaan Oromo, at least now. Hopefully, in the future, there will be more. So that's why it is really important to have a space like this. So now, since both of you guys work in the classes, I wanted to ask how you've been engaging with the students as teaching assistant and class coordinator, and what your experiences are, what you learn from the students' feedback, and what their reactions during the classes are. Um, Sartu, you can start.
Okay, I think we really enjoy the classes, and it's really motivating when you have a group of individuals that, come out and are motivated to learn, whether it be Afaan Oromo or it be our current Gada class that's still going on. It motivates you to continue learning, and when people are interested to learn, it really creates this like really nice cohesive environment where everybody is contributing and they're getting more than maybe they would have thought. They're making friends, they're making connections, they're learning, and overall just enjoying like being in a community of learners. So it's really nice, and I think our interactions are always pleasant with the students. I mean, we're still students ourselves,
Mhm.
so it's pleasant, and we learn from them. They learn from us. It's a really big learning experience for all of us.
Thank you for sharing. Gudisa, how has your experience been?
Yeah, so it's kind of echoing what Sartu just said. Students are always so um, like they're always just there, and they're happy to be in the class, and they're always motivated, and you don't need to push anybody to learn, right, as maybe you'd see in a normal classroom or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Classrooms are students are asking for homework. Students are it's not the teacher saying you guys have homework. It's always a student asking for homework, and I really admire that and how motivated and determined everybody who joins these classes are in reconnecting to their culture, and it's just something that really inspires you to do the same. And classrooms are in the classes never a place where you feel bored listening or anything like that. It's always engaging and everybody's participating, and it's a really cohesive environment for everybody to just learn and to express their ideas also. And it's also a really good place of network. I
Mm-hmm.
see like the group chats we have for all of the classes, those group chats stay full with messages way after class ends. And that's also something that I've noticed that's really reflective of how motivated students are and how it's important for us to continue learning.
Thank you. Yeah, those are, it's really cool hearing about it, and also, seeing the classes and how much participation there really is from the students, and how much everybody enjoys it. It's really nice to see, and I hope more people can have that experience. I want to talk a little bit more about the classes, specifically the content, since we'll be having the Oromo classes coming soon. Can you just tell us a little bit about the difference between level one and level two, and who is eligible to attend the level two classes? Um, Either of you.
Okay. So the main difference between level 1 and 2, there is some overlap. Level 1 is really the basics, right? The alphabet, um, sort of uh, like basic tenses, certain vocabulary. So it really gives someone, the a good base for them to take level 2.
Mm-hmm.
Level 2 kind of builds on that with like vocabulary development, and then moving into more listening and reading, trying to write and speak as well. So it takes like those foundational elements that somebody would have learned in level 1 and really built on it. So I think anybody that has, I mean, it's good for someone to take the level 1 and have that sound base. But I think level 2, even if you took it with just like a basic of understanding of like the alphabet and knowing how to read and write, would still be beneficial for somebody, because it is more advanced. It goes into like sentence structure and writing paragraphs and learning how to speak as well, and getting into the habit of listening more. So yeah, it's a really beneficial class.
Okay, thank you. Gudisa, do you have anything to add on?
No, I don't have anything to add on there. I think Sartu's captured everything perfectly.
Okay, and I did, so I don't know if you said this in your answer, but does somebody have to take the level one class before taking the level two class?
So there's no must, right? Like you can enroll in the level 2 without having taken the level 1.
Mm-hmm.
But it is helpful to have that level 1 background before you take the level 2. The level 2 does go over the alphabet, like it does do a refresher and
Mm-hmm.
sort of recaps a little bit of the level 1. So it is possible for somebody without having taken the level 1 to take the level 2. But I think it's a better progression if you were to take the level 1 first,
Mm-hmm.
then take the level 2. But if you missed the level 1, no problem. Take the level 2. I'm sure you'll still learn a lot from it.
Okay. And so during the upcoming summer or soon, we'll be starting the classes for children again. Could you give us, do you have any specifics about the age groups, and also if the children took the class before, is there anything different now?
So, with the last kids class, it was the first time that it was run, so it was taught differently, and it really was like a trial run, I guess you could say. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
this one, I think a lot more work has been put into it, and trying to understand the different learning styles of children and trying to adapt to the way that they learn. So this one will be taught differently, will be taught by a new teacher. So they'll have their own style that they'll bring. Um, and well, I forgot the second part of your question.
It was just I was asking the age groups for the kids classes.
Oh, so the class is broken up into 3 age sets. It's
Mhm.
5 to 7, 8 to 10, and then 11 to 14. And that's just to group children that are within the same age range. Will kind of have similar learning styles and make it easier so that you don't have a class where there's a 6-year-old, but then there's also a 14-year-old. You kind of break them up so that they can learn their respective age groups. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about the last kids class that ran last year and how that was.
Yeah, so I was the teaching assistant for the last kids class and I really enjoyed it. I think all the age groups they did bring it was a different environment for each of them. Some of the older kids were a bit more serious and but they're all really playful. I think the younger kids were very playful and they participated well, which surprised me is that the kids were like willing to participate and actually try. They didn't feel like super scared or anything because all the other kids were kind of at the same level as them, and they could talk to the other kids who were trying to learn Oromo. So I had a really good experience as a teacher because I love to be around kids. So it was nice seeing them every week, learning, trying to learn the language. And I think it's really beneficial because I did see how much they were able to retain and how much they felt more comfortable with the language, and hearing it in the classroom I think really helped them. So I really would recommend a lot of parents who want their kids to learn more Afaan Oromo, or at least learn it in a more structured way, to sign them up for these classes. So that's my piece. Gudisa, do you have anything to say to parents who, like I said, want their kids to learn more, and or who don't know that much, or they try on their own? How do you think these classes could help them?
Yeah, so I'd say for parents, I mean, I'm not a parent, but I can say from a child's perspective, from what I see, kind of that we know that you don't have a lot of time on your hands for your children to teach them Oromo. Everybody has busy work schedules, and students go to school, so there's not a lot of time other than the weekends to talk and to teach Oromo and uh, these other type of things. But if you were to enroll your kids in this class, which is on the weekend, by the way, I think that would be something that would take a lot of stress off your shoulders, and it would be something that definitely helps your kids, and it will help you in turn.
Yes, and I did want to mention that since we're going to be starting soon or later in May slash early June, that it'll be during the summer for a lot of kids. So it'll give them something to do for a couple weeks, and keep them still engaged in learning something, even though they might not be in school. Overall, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for the kids and obviously for the adults too, like we talked about. So we're coming to the end of our discussion. So if you guys have anything to say, can you talk about the classes that are available, and if do we have any open for registration right now? Sartu, can you tell us?
Yeah, so alongside the new Afaan Oromo Adult Level 2 and the Afaan Oromo Kids class, which are both open for registration, Our Gada class is still ongoing, and if you're still interested, you still are able to sign up. The registration is open. We're only in week 2, so if you were to sign up still, you wouldn't have missed much, and we would catch you up with whatever material you may have missed. But the other two, the Afaan Oromo for adults, level 2, and the kids class are both open. So go to ola.org/education and sign up if you're interested.
Thank you. And not to put you on the spot, but Gudisa, since you've been participating in the Gada system classes, do you have something new that you learned that you want to share with us? Something that surprised you or that was just, you've never heard about?
Well, definitely not putting me on the spot there, but yeah, so far, like the class is really jam packed with information. I think one of the biggest things that jumped out to me was that there's this saying in Afaan Oromo, Herri Shantama, Serri Ibbashani Shantama. That means there's 50 laws in the Constitution, and there's 550 uh, laws in general. I don't know exactly how to translate that, but that's kind of what it means. And this has always been a saying in everywhere in Oromia, but nobody actually knows what each law actually is. And so Obo Darubi, our teacher, he actually told us the 50 parts laws in the Constitution. So that was really an eye-opening moment to see all of that listed there, to see the foundational values of the Gada system, the system that governs the Oromo, or govern the Oromo. Hopefully we can bring it back with this class. But yeah, that was the biggest thing that I've noticed.
Thank you. I wanted to leave everybody with a fun fact, but I didn't even know that either. So I learned something new too. Um, so thank you both for coming today, for talking a little bit about the classes. And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us. And please remember to go on the OLA website and you'll be able to find these classes under the education department. So please sign up. And if you have any questions, send it to the OLA page. Thank you, everybody. And I'll end our broadcast now.